What we were looking into were artillery attacks that were reported in the summer of 2014 against Ukrainian forces near the Russian border. There are many claims of these attacks coming from Russia, but there was no real solid proof. So we wanted to see if there was anything behind these claims. What we have here is satellite map imagery from Ukraine. So one thing that's very useful about Google Earth is they buy imagery from different dates. So you can actually go back in time and see what areas look like at different times of the year. And if we look at the July 16th imagery, which is available freely to anyone on Google Earth, we can actually see these crater fields, and this relates to a reported attack a few days earlier. We examined the craters and figured out the trajectory, and we did this by using established techniques used by militaries across the world, based off the marks on the ground. So what we were able to do was find the average trajectory, and that gave us a bearing that we followed back into Russia, where we found signs of launch sites inside Russia. We can see positions where multiple rocket launchers would have been parked. When these things fire, they leave quite a significant amount of burning in areas where there's crops and grass. And there's only so many vehicles this could be, and many of them in service with the Russian military. So by examining the markings on the ground, we were able to determine the wheelbase of some of these vehicles, and based on the way they were turning, we could calculate that it was likely going to be a Gradle Tornado multiple rocket launcher. We then could overlay that on the site, and we could get a good idea where all the vehicles were positioned and which way they were firing, and this just happened to be pointing exactly to the crater sites inside Ukraine. In fact, in some cases we were able to find examples where the launches had actually been filmed by people inside Russia. So for example, we've got videos where there's the smoke from launches. Some videos there's even the launches actually as they were happening. And these videos were all posted by individuals on different social media accounts. So we know they're from people, different sources, and they were filmed from different locations inside Russia. And what's useful about that is it's actually possible to then find exactly where each video was filmed using a technique we call geolocation, where we use images visible in the video to match it to imagery on the ground. It was possible not only to find the satellite map imagery that matched the reports of the attack, but also videos showing the attack actually happening, filmed by people inside Russia. What we've managed to establish is there were a number of significant gains made by the Ukrainian separatists in the summer of 2014. Many of these sites where there's huge crater fields that have been linked to sites in Russia appear to be linked to those gains. So it does seem that these cross-border artillery attacks, they weren't random acts. The suggestion is that these attacks were part of an organised offensive supported by artillery attacks from inside Russia.
Instead of disintegrating, NATO actually expanded not once but twice, growing to 28 members. Even the French, who kicked NATO out of Paris in the 60s and then operated as a semi-detached member, were later reintegrated fully.